What color are the glasses you look at life through? I like to think that mine are a little bit rose colored, but as you can see from the roses behind me, that's not all one color. Sometimes it's a darker, more vibrant pink. Sometimes it's a really light pink. And then times they're white or yellow or just a little more faded. I think our perspective changes both with time and circumstance. And I think the garden has a lot to teach us about that and a lot about other things in life. And so when I'm out in the garden, I try to really put a lot of thought into just general life things. So I hope you'll let me share some of what I've learned in the garden as we go through the things that have happened this weekend when we had some family over and some friends. We got some things accomplished in the garden. And I hope you have a wonderful day. First off, you can see that the rose bushes behind me didn't look quite like this even just a week or two ago. And they have beautifully fleshed out. And they've made me very excited for the season to come. And the rest of my plants have done pretty well. And I'll share with you how they've done in the greenhouse. The greenhouse kept the plants pretty well this year. Most of them are surviving to face the spring. Some really need to be planted outside, but we have frost coming in the morning, so that'll wait another day. But over here is what I want to really pay attention to. I have got lantana over here. Kept it in the greenhouse all winter, and it looked entirely like this up until not very long ago when the leaves started to grow. It's been getting a lot of water and keeping it in a nice warm place in the greenhouse so that it has a chance to thrive and come back. I want to draw your attention to its neighbor here, who has had the same care, who has had the same general location, in the same greenhouse, and is the same type of plant, but doesn't look real good. What I want you to know is that not everybody, plants and people alike, respond to things the same way. They don't respond to care the same way. They don't respond to conditions the same way. But underneath all of this, with all this care, he is starting to show a little sign of growth. And this plant may come back and be wonderful and as beautiful as his neighbor. But he just needed a little extra something. And I think we're all like that in some ways. Nobody is the same. We should always keep up hope, even when things look to be their worst. I've got this lemon verbena, and I'm trying hard to keep the faith for it, maintain some hope, as it looks pretty bad. Did not do well in the winter, but there's a chance down here, this tiny little bit of green. I think that might be it trying to come back. So we'll see what it does, and I'll just keep taking care of it to the best of my ability, because this gardener doesn't give up too very easily. I am very, very grateful to my kids, my family, my little community, for all the effort that they've put into trying to get this garden back up to what it was, or a little similar to what it was, after we had a pretty catastrophic failure with the wall. And I think they've done an amazing job. Set me up a new squash tunnel, put in some new mulch back here. It's just a lot of work to be done. And I think it's still going to be a very functional garden. But essentially, that is only possible through friends and family coming together just out of the goodness of their hearts to do something kind for me. And I appreciate that in ways they'll never know, because it really does take a village. Nobody can do it alone. Good.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold it up again. That's how you know you're working hard, right?
Look, as is tradition, if it's not Tiffany proof, it doesn't get to live everywhere.
In the That's true. That is true.
I love
There we go.
A snake.
A snail. Oh, looky there.
We got trouble. Here is one.
Jake, you don't need to help, dude.
Jake says, I am the supervisor.
He
I
is.
supervise the digging. I do nothing to help. I just make everything worse, and I eat the things I'm not supposed to. Get out!
'Tis the way. And sadly, this mulberry tree, it had to be uprooted because this pot needed to be moved, and it grew through the pot. And unfortunately, that means it went through some trauma. And it went through some trauma not for the good of the plant, because the plant was happy where it was growing, but it went through the pot and it was heading towards the pond, towards the pool. Would have done a lot of damage. The idea for this is it needs to stay contained. So now we've got it temporarily in some grow bags. We'll make it a little more decorative as time goes on. But it took a really solid hit. Did not like the move at all, which is not uncommon. Plants and people are not super fond of moving out of their routine where they're comfortable. Sometimes it has to be done. So this plant suffered a little bit of trauma, not for its own good, but for those around it. And look how it's coming back. It's got some leaves popping up here. Been giving it some good water, trying to take special care of it. And hopefully it'll survive over here. Maybe start to thrive next year. This is going to be a rebuilding year for this plant. Sometimes we all have rebuilding years. Maybe it's just me being a hopeless optimist, but I just can't resist trying to bring back the clearance aisle plants at Lowe's. See if I can't salvage them and have them be big, beautiful plants. These don't look too bad. There's a couple of these daisies that are kind of sketchy, but I figured I'd give them a try. Sit them in a tub of water, see if they'll come back, and decide where I'm going to plant them, probably tomorrow or the next day. There's always hope, even if it looks a little bit uncertain. So I wanted to try to protect some of these blossoms. As you can see, they're looking really like they're about to flower. And they may not even need this covering, but I figure it's not going to hurt. Covered over my peony bushes with just some old grow bags that I haven't put anything in yet. And hopefully they'll do all right. And then also covered up the squash that I planted early on each end of the garden. And I left the corn in their bottle greenhouses to see how they do. Hopefully we won't get any frost damage anyway, because I have a few of these corn that they just won't fit under anything anymore. They are just going to have to be our little tests as to whether or not I really even needed to leave these covered up one more day. But we'll find out in the morning. I did take the plants I got from Lowe's out of their water. I left the lavender here. They're a little protected against the greenhouse, but not covered up. We're going to hope those tomatoes do all right. They're extra ones, but still. We'll find out how they do. And then I put the little bit more frost tender plants inside the greenhouse. You can see the dahlias, the daisies, and the lantanas and potato vines. But we'll see how they do in there. I'm hopeful, since this area is a little more protected, that even if we get a frost, it won't affect this area quite the same because the greenhouse is heated. So we'll check it in the morning and see. Covered over a few of the flowers. Did do a little bit of this basil that's starting to pop up, and one tomato plant, because it's my favorite kind. And I'll let you know in the morning how things did. You know, this is not the wisest place for you to hang out. Really, it's not. You suppose? You're very stoic. I'm gonna go to the garden, okay? Bye. Yeah, I knew you coming too. I'm really excited to start finding places for all of these pots. Get my container garden started again. Kids built me up a new little trellised area, a little bit of raised platform to put those pots on. And we'll be doing some more work on this area to make it a little more aesthetic. But I also built this trellis, started some blackberries over it, and decorated it with some of my little flamingos. And that was a lot of work, actually. Between that, raking up some leaves, and doing some of that brickwork, it was a full day. And I just appreciate every one of them. The children that I gave birth to, the children that I've adopted with my heart, and those that have become like family to us that we call our food kids. We had at least a few of them over this weekend. Very rarely can they all come at once. Like you almost can't tell which one of these daisies was the sketchy one, because they all look pretty good this morning. Feeling pretty optimistic about that. The garden is just full of lessons for us. You go from tiny buds to open blossoms, and you enjoy them while they're here, and before you know it, they've moved on. And that's how life is. It's cyclical. Each thing comes in its season. You start with tiny buds, and they're holding the promise of this beautiful tree. And it's that way in our life as well. And those are the kind of things that I contemplate when I'm out in the garden. And I just thought that I would share a few of those thoughts